What's up everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's dive into our first news. Magomed Ankalaev has revealed that he's seriously considering a move up to heavyweight. Just days before his first light heavyweight title defense, the reigning 205-pound champion teased fans with the possibility of chasing two-division glory. Ankalaev has already put together an impressive run at light heavyweight, but there are still some big names waiting for him, including Carlos Ulberg and former champion Jiří Procházka. Even with those challenges ahead, Ankalaev made it clear during the UFC 320 media day that his ambitions stretch beyond his current division. Ankalaev explained that while he hasn't focused much on whether people will eventually label him one of the greatest, his priority is to keep achieving his goals inside the octagon. He said that for now, his focus remains on defending the light heavyweight belt a few more times to cement his legacy. After that, the plan is to move up to heavyweight, capture the title there, and then look toward a well-deserved rest. According to Ankalaev, whether fans and analysts place him among the all-time greats is not something he thinks about, because his only mission is to keep winning and making history inside the cage. Before moving to the next news, we have one quick request for you. We are constantly working on improving our content to earn your love and support. That is why we truly appreciate it if you could take just a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on MMA Pulse News. Moving on to another news, Nate Diaz has reportedly shut down an opportunity to fight in BKFC due to health concerns. According to BKFC president David Feldman, the promotion reached out to Diaz about competing, but he declined, citing the amount of scar tissue he has built up over the years. Feldman explained on the Ariel Helwani show that Diaz was honest about the risks, saying the bare-knuckle format just wasn't the right option for him at this stage. However, Feldman also suggested that things might be different if the name on the other side of the ring was Conor. He believes that if Diaz was offered a fight against Conor in BKFC, he would likely accept without hesitation. While the door appears closed for now, Feldman's comments have fueled speculation that the rivalry between Diaz and Conor could one day spill over into bare-knuckle fighting, a matchup that would instantly capture worldwide attention. Moving on to another news, Rampage Jackson has slammed Wanderlei Silva after his chaotic exhibition boxing match ended in disaster. Silva was disqualified for repeatedly throwing headbutts, which sparked a violent brawl inside the ring. During the melee, Silva was brutally knocked out by his opponent's son, leaving him with serious injuries and sparking widespread debate across the combat sports world. Jackson didn't hold back when giving his reaction. He said Silva was acting like a bully inside the ring, and that the MMA community has long known about his reputation for fighting aggressively and crossing the line. Rampage made it clear that he has no sympathy for what happened, because in his eyes, Silva brought it on himself by breaking the rules and disrespecting the sport. He added that one thing he has always stood against is bullying, and he wasn't going to defend Silva after the way he conducted himself during the fight. Moving on to another news, Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo have both come forward with bold predictions, backing Cory Sandhagen to pull off the upset this weekend against Merab and capture the bantamweight championship. Usman explained that he sees Cory landing more significant strikes, emphasizing that Sandhagen is a true technician inside the octagon. He pointed out how well Cory cuts angles, how he mixes up his strikes, and how difficult it is to put him away. Usman reminded everyone that outside of Aljamain Sterling, nobody has ever truly been able to finish Sandhagen, which makes him believe Cory has what it takes to be the guy to dethrone Merab. Cejudo echoed similar thoughts, adding that if Cory can maintain his composure under the pressure, he has all the tools to make it happen. He talked about Cory's hands, knees, and elbows, praising his ability to use every weapon at his disposal. Cejudo said that the key for Sandhagen is to stay composed, manage his gas tank, and not allow Merab to overwhelm him with pace. If Cory keeps calm and dictates the striking, Cejudo believes his chances are very real. At the same time, they both acknowledged Merab's relentless wrestling and grinding style. Usman noted that if Merab can consistently secure takedowns and stay active on top, the strikes he lands may not be considered significant, but they would still rack up points. However, in a straight stand-up exchange, Usman and Cejudo agreed that Sandhagen is among the sharpest strikers in the division, a true sharpshooter with precision and creativity. Usman admitted he was picking with his heart on this one, showing support for Sandhagen, who he called a teammate and a close friend. He said that in his opinion, Cory is ready to shock the world, calling him one of the most dangerous fighters when he is locked in and composed. Both he and Cejudo concluded that if Cory fights smart, stays fresh, and avoids getting dragged into Merab's wrestling-heavy pace, fans could be hearing the words, "and new," by the end of the night. With two former champions putting their faith in him, Sandhagen has been given a huge vote of confidence ahead of one of the biggest opportunities of his career. Moving on to another news, Robert Whittaker believes there is one fighter from the past who would have given Alex Pereira absolute nightmares inside the octagon, and that man is Daniel Cormier. Since Pereira made his UFC debut in 2022, he has captured fans with his devastating striking and knockout power, quickly building a reputation as one of the most dangerous stand-up specialists in MMA. However, his wrestling and grappling defense have long been pointed out as weaknesses that the right opponent could expose. Speaking on his MMA Arcade podcast, Whittaker explained that Prime Cormier, especially at light heavyweight, would have been the perfect stylistic challenge for Pereira. Whittaker described Cormier's wrestling as world-class and his relentless forward pressure as the kind of nightmare matchup that Pereira would struggle with. He said that light heavyweight DC would have run straight through Pereira, just as he did to so many during his prime. Whittaker also reminded fans that during that era, both Jon Jones and Cormier dominated the division, leaving little room for anyone else to shine. He argued that Pereira, with his current skill set, would not have been able to overcome someone like DC, who combined elite grappling with championship-level experience. The conversation didn't stop there. Whittaker also gave a nod to Magomed Ankalaev, saying he believes Ankalaev has the right tools to defeat Pereira today. According to Whittaker, Ankalaev is stylistically the antithesis of Pereira. He has strong wrestling, solid grappling, and a more complete skill set than many of the opponents Pereira has faced so far. Whittaker explained that Pereira has run through most of his opposition, but those fighters were primarily strikers. They played into Pereira's strengths, allowing him to showcase his striking without being forced into uncomfortable grappling exchanges. Whittaker pointed out that when Pereira fought Jan Blachowicz, it was one of the rare times he faced a well-rounded opponent with strong wrestling. That fight was close, and Whittaker believes it showed just how vulnerable Pereira could be against a heavy wrestling-based fighter. He added that the current light heavyweight division doesn't have many of those grappling-heavy athletes who could give Pereira consistent problems, which is why Pereira has been able to thrive at the top. Still, Whittaker is convinced that Ankalaev represents a serious threat, and that if DC were in his prime today, Pereira would have been completely overwhelmed. Moving on to another news, Bisping has shared his thoughts on who he believes will be next for Ilia in the lightweight division, and surprisingly, he doesn't think it's Paddy Pimblett. While much of the MMA community is leaning toward Ilia versus Paddy as the next big money fight, Bisping thinks Justin Gaethje could actually get the shot instead. His reasoning comes from Gaethje himself, who has openly stated that if he doesn't get a title fight, retirement is on the table. According to Bisping, that kind of urgency and career positioning may push the UFC to give Gaethje the fight. However, the situation isn't without its complications. Dana White wasn't too happy about Gaethje putting the UFC in that spot, saying that if a fighter is already thinking about retirement, then maybe he shouldn't be fighting at all. Despite that, Gaethje still remains a huge name in the division, one of the most violent and exciting fighters to ever step into the octagon. Nicknamed the human highlight reel, Gaethje has delivered Fight of the Year contenders time and time again, and Bisping feels that type of resume deserves another title shot, even though he's already had two in the past. On the other hand, Ilia versus Paddy is a fight that could easily headline a massive card. Stylistically, both men bring chaos, aggression, and relentless pressure. Paddy has built his reputation on non-stop forward movement, pushing the pace, and keeping fans on the edge of their seats. Meanwhile, Gaethje is pure violence, a fighter who thrives in wars, trading heavy shots and leaving it all in the cage. Both options promise fireworks, and for the fans, either fight would be a guaranteed spectacle. The lightweight division right now is stacked, and Ilia, having vacated the featherweight title after becoming champion, is in a position where he must defend or face consequences. If he doesn't fight soon, there's a chance he could even be stripped, which raises the stakes even more. Bisping pointed out that Ilia, who is undefeated and currently viewed by many as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the sport, needs to be active to cement his dominance. He believes it's only a matter of time before Ilia is forced to pick an opponent, and between Paddy and Gaethje, it's essentially a coin flip. From Bisping's perspective though, Gaethje might have the edge simply because of what he's given to the sport and the time he has already served at the highest level. While Paddy versus Ilia is the flashier option for star power and fan interest, Gaethje has consistently proven himself against the very best, putting on unforgettable performances that earned him the respect of fans and fighters alike. Bisping said if he were a betting man, he would put his money on Ilia fighting Gaethje next, simply because of merit, experience, and the fact that Gaethje is still desperate for gold before calling it a career. As of now, nothing is confirmed, but the speculation continues. Whether Ilia's first title defense comes against the wild pressure of Paddy Pimblett or the brutal violence of Justin Gaethje, fans know one thing for sure. It will be an action-packed fight that will light up the lightweight division. Moving on to another news, Dana White has suspended UFC flyweight Ramazan Tamirov after he tested positive for banned substances and was hit with a year-long suspension. The incident stems from two separate out-of-competition drug tests that Tamirov failed, one collected on June 12th and another on July 4th. Both came back positive for a substance known as trimetazidine, often referred to as TMZ. This drug is typically used in patients with heart conditions, but it has also been known to provide endurance benefits for athletes, which is why it is flagged as a prohibited performance-enhancing drug. According to a statement released by Combat Sports Anti-Doping and relayed by MMA Junkie, Tamirov is not believed to have received a significant performance-enhancing benefit from the traces found in his system. Instead, the investigation showed that he had been prescribed the medication by a doctor, but failed to confirm whether it was approved under the UFC's anti-doping rules. This oversight led to both of his tests coming back positive. It's important to note that Tamirov was pulled from his scheduled fight at UFC Abu Dhabi on July 8th as a direct result of the failed tests. In a video posted on social media, Tamirov provided his own side of the story, explaining that he was training in Thailand at the time and had suffered multiple infections and wounds during camp. Seeking treatment, he went to a dermatologist who prescribed him TMZ without checking the UFC's banned list. While Tamirov claims he did not knowingly take the drug for performance purposes, the responsibility still falls on the fighter to ensure every prescription or supplement they use complies with anti-doping standards. Due to the ruling, Tamirov has been handed a retroactive suspension, which means it is dated back to match the timing of his July positive test. As a result, he will be eligible to compete again on July 5th, 2026. This is a significant setback for a young fighter who was just starting to make waves in the division. Tamirov currently holds a professional record of 2-0 inside the UFC. He made his debut with an impressive first-round finish of CJ Vergara at UFC Fight Night 244. He followed that up with a unanimous decision win over Charles Johnson at UFC Fight Night 253, which showcased his well-rounded skill set and potential as a future contender. Many fans and analysts had high hopes for his rise, but the suspension now puts his momentum on hold for the next year. This case serves as yet another reminder of how strict the UFC's anti-doping rules are, and how even prescribed medication can land a fighter in serious trouble if they fail to go through the proper clearance process. For Tamirov, the focus will now be on serving his suspension, recovering from this career setback, and planning a return in 2026. Moving on to another news, Merab has made it very clear that his mission heading into UFC 320 is to knock out Cory Sandhagen. During his media day appearance on Wednesday, the reigning bantamweight champ doubled down on his game plan, explaining that while he is always prepared for the fight to go in any direction, his goal is to finish Sandhagen on the feet. He said that most of the fight will likely be spent striking, since both men are known for their ability to get back up when taken down. Merab acknowledged that if he takes Cory down, he will likely get back up, and if Cory takes him down, he will rise as well. That is why he believes striking exchanges will define the fight, and he feels sharper and more powerful than ever. Confident in his improvements, Merab declared that he is ready to land a knockout and deliver a statement performance inside the octagon. Of course, Cory has his own perspective heading into the matchup. The challenger expressed excitement not only about the opportunity to fight for the title, but also about stepping into a new role as the man to beat. He said that he looks forward to being on the A side of things, where opponents will now have to chase him. For Cory, this is a moment he has long been waiting for, as he has often felt like he was overlooked or not given the recognition he deserved. With this fight, he believes he can finally step into the spotlight, puff his chest out, and take his place among the best in the division. Cory added that he wants to stay active once he becomes champion, ideally defending his title 3 times in a year. He envisions fighting early in the year, then again in the middle, and finishing strong at the end of the year. To him, being active and constantly testing himself against top contenders is just as exciting as holding the belt itself. He said he has no other distractions in his life, and all of his energy is dedicated to defending the belt once he wins it. That level of focus, he believes, will set him apart and keep him sharp in a division full of dangerous challengers. While Merab remains confident, he has admitted that Cory is one of the toughest opponents he has ever faced. During his media day, Merab broke down the challenger's strengths, pointing out his flying knees, spinning attacks, slick submissions, and strong cardio. He acknowledged that Cory's ability to escape takedowns and quickly return to his feet makes him a constant threat. With plenty of high-level experience under his belt, Sandhagen is far from an easy fight. But Merab stressed that he has trained for this moment and feels like an even better version of himself compared to past performances. He knows that in MMA, one punch or one submission can change everything, but he believes he will rise to the challenge and get his hand raised on fight night. No bantamweight fighter has defended the title more than 3 times in a single reign. If Merab defeats Cory at UFC 320, he will join his close friend and longtime teammate Aljamain Sterling with 3 successful defenses, placing himself just 1 win away from making UFC history. That's it from MMA Pulse News. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.